Hello, friends. Quite spontaneously, I decided to record this video and talk to you not as a relationship counselor, that is, who helps a man get his ex-girlfriend or wife back, but to tell you about his problem. That is, what was the impetus and motivation for studying this field, and, strictly speaking, how I solved my problem. I've been consulting for 11 years now, and I'm in my 12th year. I started studying psychology when I was 18 to 19 years old. At that time, I was a naive, green, good-natured guy who always came on a first date with girls with a bouquet of roses, hoping that this gesture would change something for the better. Naturally, this is not the case. It was during that period of time that I met a girl who, perhaps, changed my whole subsequent life. We met. Then a relationship began, and I fell in love. And despite the fact that it was a teenage, youthful love, I was really experiencing everything. Everything was perfect for the first 2 months. I think you are familiar with this feeling of euphoria, joy, and satisfaction when you are waiting for a subsequent meeting, in anticipation. But after 2 months, everything changed. That is, she began to move away from me. She became cooler, somewhat irritable. Meetings began to happen less and less often. In fact, this is such a standard set of symptoms of a man's declining importance. And I tried to discuss it with her to get some kind of answer, that is, to understand what was going on. I remember asking her questions on the phone. Do you still love me? Or don't you? And I didn't hear the answer, and neither will you in this situation, because girls hide the fact of losing interest in a man for as long as possible. As time passed, the degree of my worries only increased. So that you can understand why even now I'm not talking about it quite calmly. I started having panic attacks at that time, meaning I could wake up at night. My pulse was racing. I had a feeling of anxiety inside. I could feel sick. In 2 weeks, I lost 8 kilograms. After that, I remember going to a general psychologist. I want to warn you right away, because sometimes now clients come to me after visiting a psychologist. Even if you are very lucky and you find a competent specialist, I would like to point out right away that the price for one consultation is at least several $100s. All he can do, which falls within his area of expertise, may be to make the breakup less painful for you, and nothing more. He even prescribed glycine for me, or something like that. Then, I started doing such emotional, hysterical things. That is, I could not go home, but wait for the girl at her entrance, knowing what time she would come back, to somehow see her. I remember it was her birthday, and naturally I bought her presents. There is a fact that men always think that if I give her something now, if I make her feel good, it will change everything for the better. Again, this is not the case. So I went to her place. She wasn't at home, and I waited for her on the floor for 5 hours. And the most interesting thing is that she returned not alone, but with a friend and with her ex-boyfriend. Even at that time, I understood that they weren't dating, that she wasn't interested in him, but nevertheless, I want to tell you that ex-boyfriends are taboo. And they don't just pop up. That is, if ex-boyfriends come up, it means that the girl gives them an advance, hope, and so on. For the next month and a half, I tried to change something else. But it was more like death throes, to be honest. And there was a misunderstanding of one moment inside me. I knew her social circle, her circle of acquaintances. And I'm not going to be modest now. I'll say that I realized that I was the most worthy of those who exist. and I was ready to do a lot for her. And she could have had a good, fulfilling relationship with me. I didn't understand why she didn't want that. But now I'll tell you why. Women make choices purely on an emotional basis. Emotion, it is provoked by instincts. And all men make the mistake of thinking it's a rational choice. I'll explain. If we put a choice in front of absolutely any girl, we will put John on the same scale, who will be reliable, devoted, loyal, loving, family man, focused on serious relationships, faithful, and so on. The whole set of qualities that a girl supposedly wants to see in her man, in her chosen one. And on the second side of the scale will be Simon, well, who will have the image of such a Casanova. You can imagine that. All the girls will say the following: I understand that I have to choose John, and I would be happy with him, and I would have a family, children. I would not worry about anything, but I am attracted to Simon. And all the girls will choose Simon, because there are certain elements in his behavior model, and I won't go into that right now, that provoke an instinctive component. What I want to say right away: there is, so to speak, a balance of importance in a relationship, and it is never 50-50. That is, in a relationship, there is a partner who takes a strong position, and the other takes a weak position. A weak partner is always the first to reconcile. He's more invested in the relationship. He performs the role of a diplomat in the relationship. He's jealous, and so on down the list. And if a girl left you, then you were definitely in a weak position. And in fact, there's the only one reason to break up. This is just a critical decrease in your importance. That is, the girl's interest in you. Everything else is just a consequence. Even cheating is only a consequence. Because a woman is monogamous by nature, that is, she chooses one man, and she can only fully love one man. And the path to betrayal lies through rejection from your own man. That is, she will be disappointed in you at first, and only then will she be able to feel feelings for a new man, idealize him. Only then the process of direct betrayal occur. So, where was I? Yes. There was a completely natural feeling of emptiness and hopelessness inside me. And what is a person doing in the 21st century? He's surfing the internet. I started reading articles, forums. I started watching videos. Friends, I want to tell you right away and frankly, honestly, that not a single article, not a single video, not a single forum will bring the girl back to you. All the videos you see on YouTube are, in fact, of a commercial nature. That is their goal when they tell you 3 steps to get the girl back, a new way, 3 secrets. It's all about commerce. And if you hear phrases like how to seduce a girl again, how to change and reappear in her life, and for her to say wow, then you should immediately close this video. Most likely you are looking at a former pickup artist who retrained into such a relationship expert, but who does not understand anything about it. If we take video courses, because I am approached by clients who often say, yes, I bought a video course, but I know perfectly well what it contains when so many things are presented on their website. A lot of bonuses. They will also refund your money if you don't like this course. There's also a hotline where you can call them and ask a question. I will tell you only one fact. No one will return the money to you. They will tell you on the hotline that you come to a consultation for $200, and there will be not the person who is in the video, but his assistant. Okay, let's not talk about the sad stuff. Let's go back to the articles on the internet. I started reading articles, and I found one such low-quality and crude article about the principle of closer further. That is, the principle of emotional swings, when we do not behave linearly. But there is such a definite contrast in our behavior. It's true, it can be used. But it can be used at the stage of, say, the beginning of a relationship, or in their process. But not when trying to get a girl back. But, nevertheless, I figured out how I would apply it. What did I start doing? I stopped texting her first. I responded to her message in monosyllables and positively, without meaning to answer her questions. A few days have passed, and suddenly I notice that she began to write to me more often. And that's when I realized that maybe things don't look quite the way they really seem to you in a relationship. Everything is not the way it is portrayed in TV series and movies, where the picture is drawn as a man who does not find reciprocity in a woman. He seeks her, and as a result, there is a happy ending. I understood that this doesn't happen in real life. I continued. A few days have passed, and suddenly the girl hints at a dating. Although, up to this point, she had constantly said that she is a girl, and therefore, she is not the one who proposed a dating first. That surprised me. I continued. A few days have passed, and suddenly she says that, in principle, she is not against relationships. And I thought, that's it. I've achieved what I wanted. And I flew to her with open arms. And when we meet, she says, "No, I'm still not sure if I want a relationship or not. It's such a difficult stage in my life, and I do not know. I'm not sure." I remember that moment now. I think it's clear from me that even now I'm experiencing emotions, even though it was many, many years ago. And this situation is already in the past for me, and I got what I wanted. But even now I'm experiencing certain inner feelings. It was very important to me, and I was angry that day at the whole world. There was a sense of injustice. And it was then that I decided for myself, being a fanatical person, that I would do anything. But I make her fall in love with me, and she would be with me. I had quite a difficult path ahead of me. I want to tell many of you something right away. Do you know what people write to me most often on social media or anywhere else? Can you give me some advice? A couple of tips won't be enough for you. Next, I was lucky. When I read all the forums, I read 50 pages in each thread, stories that lasted for many years. And then I found a person who gave recommendations. He really gave such very valuable and practical recommendations. I've seen it. He was a man who had already been involved in this activity for about 10 to 15 years, and now he no longer does it. He wasn't on YouTube or anywhere. It was some kind of forum on the internet. I found out how to get in touch with him, although I had never in my life addressed anyone in this way, especially on the internet. I contacted him, and after talking with him, my understanding and my vision of the relationship turned upside down, turned at 180 degrees. And I literally had a picture. I had a puzzle, as if I was missing some puzzles. And here they came together. What he said was very logical and simple. And I am very grateful to him. Because already at the age of 19, I had a foundation with which I could move on, gaining my own experience. I got the girl back, but it wasn't very easy. I always say in my videos that getting a girl back is only half the battle. When we get the girl back, we change the role positions. Our goal is not only to restore the relationship, our goal is to change the role positions. That is, the girl returns on her own. We really do it. It's really possible. We can do it 8 out of 10 times, or even 9 out of 10 times. Provided that you don't disrupt, do what is really required. I did it, and she came back on her own. But I still didn't know how to build a proper relationship in the future. Therefore, she left again. Then there was the process of returning the girl again. Only this process was, let's say, more problematic. But I can honestly tell you that this girl still gets in touch with me. Even though many years have passed, that is, she has formed a real emotional attachment to me. Well, I don't want to tell you everything. I'm sure she'll see this video. So, well, okay. If anything, hello. There are some important things. Don't you think it's strange that a girl leaves us, or even more, If a girl leaves for another guy? Yes. If she leaves for another guy, then this is a gross betrayal. If she just leaves, well, at least she wiped her feet on your feelings. It would seem. Why do you need such a girl? Let her go. Then her dependence on you and your importance only grows, isn't it? Why is it still so important for us to get the girl back? I want to voice one more point. There is a concept in psychology called Gestalt. Gestalt is the integrity of the psyche. There is such a thing as an unfinished Gestalt. It's like a chain that chains us to people, to places, to life situations, and in this case, to a girl. Here is a household example of Gestalt. This is when you communicate with a friend on the phone, and you have a desire to share with him some important news from your life, to hear from him a response. But your phone conversation is suddenly interrupted. For example, you have run out of money on your phone balance, and until you call him again, you will have a feeling of incompleteness inside. It creates such a feeling of discomfort, tension, and anxiety. Or, for example, how does a student feel when he fails an exam and is scheduled to retake it in 2 months? He's been having inner anxiety for the last 2 months, right? As if he hadn't finished something. These are minor examples. If we are talking about a relationship in which you wanted to give a girl love, care, warmth, and you had far-reaching plans, then a man will replay over and over in his own thoughts the previous situation when he wants to complete the unfinished, express the unspoken, and receive what he has not yet received. And this unfinished Gestalt is present in a lot of men. And the harder the girl dumped you, the more likely that you have it. You have a question, but how to close it? Actually, right? Actually, there are different ways we can do this, but the most effective, straightforward, and, last but not least, enjoyable is the fact of restoring a relationship with a girl. But, I repeat, she has to come back to us, on her own. If you've been listening to this monologue of mine for almost 20 minutes, you probably have problems after all. And you are waiting for me to tell you the refund mechanism itself. Friends, this doesn't make any sense. Why? For example, if I decided to write a tutorial on how to get a girl back, it would take about 40 to 50 pages. Not much. And how to apply it correctly? No way. This requires experience, understanding, and an unbiased assessment from the outside. I love analogies. They are the most accessible to humans. And I will give the analogy that is closest to me, because at one time I was seriously involved in the gym. I performed bench press. I fulfilled the standards of the master of sports. And for most men, 95%. Relationship psychology is like pumping iron. And for some, it's not exactly pumping iron. It's biochemistry, biomechanics, training periodization, dietetics, exercise technique. When you can talk about the resynthesis of creatine phosphate, about the energy supply system, and so on. But, nevertheless, if you have any question, fear, doubt, I am open. You can write a comment. I will answer everyone. I will answer if I have time. I try to answer everyone. But the immediate solution to the problem occurs only in consultation, because we need feedback. And I'm used to doing my job well. I also want to say that it is impossible to deceive a person, not a single one. It's impossible to deceive you specifically. And you know perfectly well whether I was telling the truth in this video, whether I was really telling my story, or, like many others, I was trying to create a macho image that feeds only empty words and just earns money. It's already 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to bed. See you all. Goodbye. Dear friends, I kindly ask you to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.